The sky was a perfect shade of blue when the group of 5 friends set out for their weekend adventure. It was supposed to be a quick getaway. Nothing fancy, just a spontaneous road trip to shake off the stress of college exams. They had planned it only 2 days ago, choosing a scenic national forest several hours outside the city. The road ahead was long, but their spirits were high. Liam, the unofficial leader of the group, was behind the wheel of his father's old SUV. His girlfriend, Emma, rode shotgun, sipping iced coffee and queuing up a road trip playlist. In the back seat sat Jordan, the jokester of the group, next to Ava, a quiet photography major who clutched her vintage camera like it was a lifeline. Beside her, scrolling through maps and snacks, was Marcus, the most skeptical and cautious of the bunch. "Guys, this is going to be legendary," Liam grinned, merging onto the highway. "Until we get lost in the woods and eaten by bears," Marcus muttered, but the others just laughed. The early part of the trip was filled with loud music, bad singing, and pointless games. They stopped at a gas station 2 hours in to stock up on snacks. Jordan returned with 2 packs of sour gummies, a bag of jerky, and a can of neon green energy drink he claimed was banned in Europe. Emma snapped pictures of their pit stops, while Ava focused her lens on old barns and winding roads. Everything felt fresh and exciting, the kind of freedom you only get when you're young, together, and nowhere near responsibilities. As they left the last town and entered a long stretch of rural highway, Liam turned the music down. "Okay, GPS says we're 4 hours away, but there's a shortcut through the forest that saves an hour." "Shortcut through the forest?" Marcus raised an eyebrow. "That sounds like the start of every horror movie ever." "Relax," Emma said. "It's just a back road. People use it all the time." Still, Marcus glanced out the window at the looming treetops with a frown. Something about this road felt different, less traveled, too quiet. They made the turn anyway. The paved highway gave way to a cracked 2-lane road flanked by dense forest. The trees towered over them like silent watchers, blotting out much of the sun. Still, they pressed on, music returning to fill the silence. They joked, they laughed, they passed a few faded signs pointing toward old cabins and campsites. But as the hours dragged on, the road seemed to stretch farther than expected. GPS began to lose signal. Liam's phone switched from 4G to 3G to no service. Ava noticed, but said nothing, preferring to photograph the mist creeping in over the hills. "Didn't that sign say we were 20 miles from Glen Hollow?" Emma asked at one point, checking the map. "That was an hour ago," Marcus said. "We should have reached it by now." "Maybe we missed a turn," Liam offered. Jordan shrugged. "Or maybe Glen Hollow doesn't exist. Ever think of that?" Emma rolled her eyes, but even she was beginning to feel uneasy. The road hadn't changed much. No other cars had passed them.
No towns.
No people. Just the trees, and that strange stillness that grew heavier by the minute. Around sunset, they passed a rusted old road sign, nearly covered in ivy. Ava snapped a picture and zoomed in on the writing. "Dead Horse Road," she read aloud. There was a pause. Then Jordan burst out laughing. "Okay, that's hilarious. Creepy, but hilarious." "Who names a road that?" Emma asked. "I don't know, but I vote we turn around," Marcus said, more serious now. Liam slowed the car slightly. "It's probably just an old nickname or something." But Marcus wasn't convinced. His gut told him something was wrong with this place, even if he couldn't say why. Still, they drove on. After all, they were together, and turning back would mean admitting they were scared. They didn't want to look foolish, not yet. Not when the adventure had just begun. What they didn't realize was that the road had already begun to change around them. The sun was sinking faster than it should have. The air was quieter than it ought to be. And the deeper they went, the harder it would be to find their way back. Because on this road, some trips don't have a return route. Dusk settled over the winding forest road, casting long shadows that twisted across the pavement. The last hints of sunlight flickered behind the dense canopy as the SUV pushed forward, its headlights cutting through the dark like twin blades. The group had gone from laughing and singing to quiet murmurs and nervous glances. This can't be right, Marcus said, peering out the window. We've been on this road for over an hour. Liam gripped the steering wheel tighter. It's just a long detour. We'll hit the main road soon. Ava leaned forward, her camera forgotten in her lap. Did anyone notice we haven't passed a single car since the last town? That statement settled over the group like a fog. No one answered. They hadn't noticed until now. Suddenly, a flickering light in the distance caught their attention. A small roadside gas station came into view, the kind that looked like it hadn't been updated since the 1970s. A single bulb hung over the front awning, buzzing with dying light. The sign above the roof read, Baker's Fuel and Bait. We should stop, Emma said quickly. Ask for directions. Stretch our legs. Liam nodded and pulled in. The SUV rolled to a stop beside one of the rusted pumps. The air smelled of gasoline and damp leaves. Inside the small convenience store, the lighting was dim and the shelves mostly empty. A radio played soft country music in the background, and a man in overalls stood behind the counter, slowly thumbing through a newspaper. He looked up as they entered, his eyes lingering just a bit too long. Evening, he said, voice rough like gravel. Hey, Liam said, approaching. We're trying to get to Glen Hollow. GPS kind of died on us. Are we still on the right road? The man folded his paper carefully. Glen Hollow, huh? Ain't been folks heading that way in a long while. Why? I've back to say. I asked. Is it closed or something? The man didn't answer right away. He scratched his beard and leaned on the counter. Used to be a nice place. Lotta campers. But folks started going missing. Strange accidents. Search parties never found much. Most people avoid that road now. The group exchanged glances. Jordan laughed nervously. So, urban legends? Ghosts? Bigfoot? The man didn't laugh. Road plays tricks on ya. Twists in ways it shouldn't. Some say it ain't just a road, but a passage. To where? Ain't nobody ever come. Marcus frowned. So you're saying we should turn back? The old man looked each of them in the eyes. I'm saying, if you keep going, don't expect things to stay the same. Emma stepped forward. We'll be fine. It's just a shortcut. Thanks, though. The man just nodded slowly, returning to his paper. Back outside, the group got back into the SUV. As Liam turned the key, Marcus looked at the others. Guys, come on. That was creepy as hell. Can we just take the long way? Jordan chuckled. You seriously believe that guy? He probably hasn't left the station in decades. Emma nodded. We've come this far. Might as well keep going. It's just another 30 miles, tops. No one looked entirely convinced, but Liam put the car in gear. The SUV rumbled back onto the road. As they drove on, the trees grew denser. The road narrowed slightly, and strange symbols began to appear on nearby mile markers. Chalky white shapes that looked like runes or handprints. The air turned colder, despite the summer season. The forest seemed alive. Ava snapped a photo of a tree with a red ribbon tied around it. Why would someone mark a tree like that out here? She asked. Trail marker, Emma offered. No trail around here, Marcus muttered. Then the GPS, long frozen, suddenly buzzed to life. It displayed a single word before shutting off again. Turn back. Everyone stared at the blank screen. That's not funny, Liam said, eyes darting between the road and the mirror. No one touched it, Ava whispered. The road ahead curved, disappearing into mist. The headlights began to flicker. Something ran across the road ahead, fast and low, like an animal, but too large. Liam hit the brakes, and everyone jerked forward. What the hell was that? Jordan shouted. No one had a clear answer. The figure had vanished into the trees. For the first time, real fear settled in the car. They had ignored the signs. They had laughed at the warnings. But now the road was changing, and it wasn't going to let them go easily. Silence had taken over the car. No one spoke after the creature, or whatever it was, dashed across the road. Liam kept his eyes fixed ahead, his knuckles white against the steering wheel. The forest pressed closer on both sides now, almost as if the trees themselves were leaning in to watch. I didn't imagine that, right? Emma finally asked, breaking the silence. Her voice was barely above a whisper. No, Ava said. You didn't. Jordan forced a laugh. Okay, let's just say it was a deer on steroids. A really fast, mutated deer. That makes sense, right? Deer don't crawl, Marcus muttered. That thing was crawling. That single statement shut Jordan up. As the road snaked deeper into the woods, they noticed more anomalies. Trees that looked identical every half-mile, with the same branches twisted in the same direction. A rock formation that they could have sworn they passed before. It gave the unsettling impression that they were driving in circles, though the road never turned sharply enough to confirm it. Ava rolled her window down to take a photo, but paused. Do you guys hear that? They all fell silent again. For a moment, there was nothing but the engine's low hum. Then they heard it. Faint whispering, like distant voices riding the wind. No words, just murmurs, rising and falling like a haunted chant. Emma reached forward and turned the radio off, just in case. I think it's coming from the trees, Ava said. Slowly pulling her head back in and rolling up the window, the group collectively tensed. No one wanted to suggest turning around anymore. Partly because they were scared, partly because no one was sure how to. The GPS had died again. The road behind them was now veiled in darkness, with no visible turnoffs. The SUV kept rolling forward, as if the road itself had decided they were not allowed to stop. Then came the signs. Literally, they began to pass strange, hand-carved wooden signs nailed to the trees. Some read like warnings, "Don't look back. IT knows you're here. Stay in the car." Others were more cryptic. "She sings in the dark. They're hungry tonight." Okay, what the actual hell? Jordan muttered, snapping a picture of one. These look old, Ava said, inspecting the wood grain through her camera. Like really old, weathered. Someone's been putting them up for years. But who? Marcus asked. And why? No one had a good answer. Suddenly, the SUV's headlights caught something ahead. Another car. Liam slowed down. It was an old blue sedan, parked diagonally on the side of the road with its hood up. One door hung slightly open. The interior light was on, but no one was inside. As they passed slowly, Ava aimed her camera through the window. Click. The flash fired. A figure was standing behind the abandoned car, partially hidden in the trees. Pale, lanky, and still almost human, but not quite. What was that? Emma gasped. Ava lowered her camera. There was something behind that car. Liam didn't wait to check. He stepped on the gas. Nope. We are not stopping, he said, voice trembling now. Jordan looked back, but the car was gone. Not even the headlights lit it anymore. Where'd it go? He whispered. We just passed it. The whispers outside returned, louder this time, more distinct, almost angry. Then the laughter began. It was faint at first, childlike, echoing in the distance. But it began to multiply. Several voices, cackling, overlapping, surrounding the vehicle from unseen directions. Turn it off, Marcus shouted. The radio is off, Emma cried. The laughter persisted. It wasn't coming from the radio. It was outside. A sudden thump against the roof made them all scream. Liam slammed the brakes. Another thump, this time on the rear window. Something was up there. No one moved. The SUV idled, headlights flickering again. The forest stood still, almost as if it were holding its breath. Then came a scratching sound, nails or claws, dragging slowly across the roof. Liam shifted the gear into drive, heart pounding in his chest. Hold on. He floored it. The SUV tore down the road, tires screaming against the asphalt. Whatever had been on top rolled off with a heavy thud and vanished behind them. They drove for another mile before Liam finally slowed down. Everyone was pale and trembling, staring out into the darkness, too stunned to speak. They didn't know where they were anymore. They didn't know what they had seen. But they all knew one thing. They weren't alone on this road. The SUV's engine roared through the night as the road wound tighter through the thickening woods. Every now and then, Liam would steal glances at the rearview mirror, half expecting to see that pale figure chasing after them. But there was only darkness, deep and endless. No one had spoken in minutes. The group was too shaken. The laughter, the thumps, the scratching on the roof, none of it made sense. Yet they all felt the same thing in their bones. Something was watching. Something didn't want them to leave. Emma finally broke the silence. That wasn't an animal. Liam didn't respond. He couldn't. His mind was spinning. The headlights flickered again. A warning light blinked on the dashboard, then another. The SUV sputtered. "No, no, no," Liam muttered, easing off the gas. The vehicle slowed, then jerked as it rolled to a stop near a bend in the road. He tried the ignition again. Nothing. Just a clicking sound and another flicker of the headlights. "We're out of gas?" Marcus asked, panicked. "I just filled the tank 2 hours ago," Liam said. "And we've barely driven 100 miles. Jordan kicked his door open. "Something's messing with us." The group stepped out reluctantly. The air was colder now, unnaturally cold for spring. Each breath formed a thin mist. "Pop the hood," Marcus said, trying to stay focused. Liam did. Marcus bent over the engine, but everything looked fine. No leaks, no smoke, no overheating. Just dead. Ava walked to the edge of the road and aimed her flashlight into the trees. "Does anyone else feel like we're being watched?" "We are being watched," Jordan said. "We've been watched since that sign back there. Dead Horse Road or whatever." Emma wrapped her arms around herself and looked down the road. "Do we walk?" "To where?" Marcus replied. "We don't even know where we are anymore. And I don't want to be caught out here with those things." Then Ava gasped. "Where's Jordan?" Everyone spun around. He was gone. "He was just here," Liam said, voice rising. "He got out of the car right behind me." They called his name, shouting into the night, their voices swallowed by the forest. Ava swept her flashlight across the road, then into the trees. No movement, no sound. Then they heard it. A scream, short, violent, cut off, came from the forest. Deep but not far. Liam grabbed a flashlight and started toward the sound.
"No."
Marcus grabbed his arm. "That's exactly what they want. You run in there, you don't come back." "But Jordan," Liam began. "He's gone," Ava said quietly. Her face was pale, eyes locked on the treeline. "Whatever took him, it's still watching us." Suddenly, the headlights flashed again, once, then died. The engine sparked, sputtered, then smoked. The SUV was useless. "We can't stay here," Emma said, her voice shaking. "We can't just sit in the open. There has to be a cabin or house nearby," Ava added. "This road can't be endless. People used to live out here, right?" Liam looked down the road. "We follow it. No splitting up. No wandering off. And if anyone hears anything, you ignore it." They all nodded and began to walk, flashlights guiding their way. The trees grew denser, their shadows long and twisted. The air smelled like wet earth and rotting leaves. After 10 minutes, they passed a mile marker. But instead of a number, it bore a carved message. 1 down. 4 to go. They froze. Emma backed away. "This isn't real. This can't be real." Liam touched the post. It was old, but the carving was fresh. The wood still curled where the blade had cut into it. Ava raised her camera to take a picture, but her screen glitched. The viewfinder flickered, distorting the image into static. "We have to keep moving," Marcus urged. "There's nothing for us back there now." As they walked, something crackled in the woods, branches snapping, leaves crunching. Always just out of sight. Sometimes it sounded like feet, other times, like crawling. They didn't speak again until a faint glow appeared in the distance. A soft, flickering orange light. "A campfire?" Emma whispered. They moved faster, drawn to the possibility of shelter, of help, of anything human. But even as they approached, a new fear took root in their hearts. Because in a place like this, not everything that glows offers warmth. The flickering light grew stronger as they continued, until it became clear that it wasn't a campfire. It was coming from inside a building. Through the trees, a weathered old house slowly emerged. It sat alone in a clearing, leaning slightly to one side like it was giving in to the years. Its windows glowed orange from lanterns inside, and smoke lazily drifted from a crooked chimney. Ivy covered much of the exterior, and the wooden porch creaked in the wind, even though nothing moved. Liam took a cautious step forward. "Someone's home. I don't know if that's a good thing," Ava said, pulling her jacket tighter. "What if it's them?" "We have no choice," Marcus replied. "It's shelter, and maybe there's a phone." They crossed the clearing slowly, every step crunching fallen leaves and twigs beneath their shoes. The closer they got, the more they noticed the details. Strange symbols scratched into the wood, faded handprints on the walls. Some small, like children's, others unnaturally large. Emma hesitated at the bottom of the steps. "Do you smell that?" It hit them all at once. A metallic, coppery odor, faint but unmistakable. Blood. Liam climbed the stairs and knocked on the door. Nothing. He knocked again, louder. Still no response. "I'm going in," he said, twisting the knob. It wasn't locked. The door creaked open slowly, revealing a dim interior lit by oil lanterns and candles. Dust floated thick in the air. The furniture was old, worn, covered in white sheets stained with brown spots. Ava stepped inside, camera raised but no longer filming. Her hands were shaking too much. The living room was full of strange objects. Old children's toys, melted candles arranged in circles, jars filled with cloudy liquid, feathers tied together with twine and hung from the ceiling. On one wall, someone had scrawled dozens of names in chalk, crossed out except for 5 new ones at the bottom. Their names. Liam read them aloud. Jordan, Liam, Ava, Marcus, Emma. Emma backed up toward the door. "We need to leave." But as she reached for the knob, the door slammed shut on its own, the lock clicking into place. Panic set in immediately. Marcus ran to a nearby window and tried to open it. Nailed shut. "There's a staircase," Ava said, pointing down the hall. "Maybe there's a way out through the back." They followed her, passing strange drawings on the walls, depictions of faceless people, clawed hands reaching from trees, and a road coiling around a figure curled into a ball. The house groaned under their weight, every step echoing strangely as if the wood was hollow beneath them. They reached a kitchen that looked frozen in time. Plates still on the table, utensils mid-meal, as if the family had simply vanished mid-dinner. A teacup rested on its side. The liquid long evaporated, but the stains still there. Suddenly, the back door creaked open by itself. A cool gust blew in, carrying the same distant whispering from the woods. Liam stepped forward, ready to bolt, but a figure stood just beyond the threshold. It was Jordan, or at least, it looked like him. His clothes were soaked, his face pale, and his eyes empty. When he opened his mouth, no words came out, only a low, raspy growl. Emma screamed. Liam yanked the door shut and locked it. The thing on the other side began pounding on it, shaking the frame. "That's not Jordan," Ava shouted. Marcus grabbed a chair and jammed it under the knob. The pounding stopped. Silence. Ava turned around and nearly dropped her flashlight. At the top of the stairs stood a woman. She was barefoot, wearing a faded dress, her hair long and tangled like roots. Her face was expressionless, eyes black and sunken, skin cracked like porcelain. In one hand, she held a lantern. In the other, a set of old car keys. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. The lights flickered. Liam took a step back. "Who are you?" The woman's head tilted slowly. "It never lets you leave." "Not really. But if you want to try." She tossed the keys to the ground, then vanished. The lights cut out. Total darkness. Screams echoed upstairs. Something thumped down the hallway. Marcus grabbed the keys. "Back to the car. Now." They ran, crashing through the house, not daring to look back as furniture toppled and whispers chased them through the hallways. They burst out the front door just as it slammed shut behind them. In the clearing, the forest now looked different. The trees were taller. The moon was gone. The stars were wrong. But there was no time to think. They ran for the road, desperate, unaware that something had followed them, and it had never left the house. The cold air hit their faces like knives as they tore through the trees and stumbled back onto the road. Liam clutched the old car keys the woman had thrown. They felt too cold, unnaturally cold, like metal left in a freezer overnight. No one said a word as they ran toward the place they had left the SUV. But when they arrived, the vehicle wasn't there. Not wrecked, not broken down, just gone. Ava spun in circles, shining her flashlight into the darkness. It was right here. We left it right here. Emma collapsed onto the ground, exhausted, shaking. We're not getting out. It's playing with us. Liam looked around the road. He could still recognize that tree with the twisted branches. The rusted road sign. Everything matched. This was the spot. But their SUV had vanished like it had never been there. Then he noticed something else. The road behind them was gone. There was no path back to the house in the woods. Just trees. Dense, black, suffocating. Marcus caught it too. The road's changing. Ava lifted her camera again, aiming it up at the stars. Even the sky's wrong. They looked up. The stars above were scattered in unfamiliar patterns. There was no moon, only a swirling black void above the treetops, like ink slowly bleeding into the sky. This place isn't part of the real world, Ava said. It's a trap. A loop, Marcus muttered, like one of those cursed places in stories. You enter, and you never leave. Liam clutched the keys tighter. No, that woman, ghost, which, whatever she was, she gave us a way out. We just have to figure out what to do with it. Emma slowly stood. We're missing something. Why us? Why now? Then they saw the new sign. It hadn't been there earlier. Nailed into a tree, still fresh, with dripping paint. For remain. Liam backed away. It's counting down. We don't have time, Ava said. If it gets all of us, we're just gone. Like Jordan. But maybe he's not gone, Emma whispered. Maybe he's trapped. Maybe he's still alive. What if that thing in the doorway wasn't him, but what's left of him? No one answered. A new sound reached them. A humming. Soft. Female.
Familiar.
The same melody they'd heard in the house. The woman's voice. It was coming from behind the trees. Growing louder. Liam turned toward it instinctively. She's trying to tell us something. No, Marcus said, stepping in front of him. You go toward that sound, you end up like Jordan. But Liam wasn't so sure. Think about it, he said. She could have attacked us. She could have left us in that house. But instead, she gave us the keys. Warned us. What if she's a victim, too? The humming stopped. Silence stretched thick between the trees. Then a rustling noise to their left. More movement. Fast. Run. Emma screamed. They took off again, sprinting down the road with no sense of direction. Just the primal instinct to flee. After a few minutes, the road opened into another clearing. In the center was an old rusted gas station, half collapsed. One flickering bulb lit up the sign overhead. Willow's Rest, last stop. Ava ran ahead. Maybe there's a map. Or a phone. The interior was wrecked. Shelves overturned. Broken glass on the floor. Dust covering everything like a blanket. Yet there was something new on the counter. A dusty map under a cracked glass frame. Marcus wiped it clean. It was a map of the surrounding area. A rough sketch, old and hand-drawn. The road they were on snaked through the forest in a loop, always returning to a central point. A place marked only as the Hollow. That's the center, Ava said. That's where everything started. Where everything connects. There was a note scribbled beneath the map in faded ink. The Hollow keeps what it feeds. Only the marked may pass. Liam opened his palm. The keys were glowing faintly. Warm now, not cold. He looked up at the others. This is it. That house, she gave us a way in. We're supposed to go to the Hollow. Emma stared at him. You think going deeper into this is the way out? It's the only thing we haven't tried, Marcus said. Maybe it's like a storm. You can't escape it. You go through it. Ava looked around. The road behind them had disappeared again. Only one direction remained. Forward. Toward the Hollow. and toward whatever was waiting there. The group stood at the edge of the last road, silence pressing in from all sides. The map had made it clear. If there was any chance of escape, it lay in the place labeled the Hollow. None of them wanted to go there, but staying meant death or worse. They walked. The forest grew darker with each step, the trees closer, as if leaning in to listen. The road thinned into a dirt path, then into a trail barely visible under the dead leaves. The air changed, heavier, electric, filled with a pressure that made their ears ring and their skin tingle. Emma whispered, "I feel like I'm walking into a grave." Ava nodded but said nothing. Her camera no longer worked, only static. She still carried it out of instinct like a shield. The deeper they went, the more the world around them lost logic. Trees twisted into impossible shapes. Rocks bled dark sap. Whispers flitted through the air, just out of comprehension. Sometimes they heard their names, sometimes laughter, sometimes Jordan's voice calling for help. But they knew better than to answer. Eventually, they reached a hill with a steep descent. At the bottom lay a clearing unlike any they'd seen before. The Hollow. It was circular, too perfect to be natural. In the center stood a massive tree, dead and blackened, its limbs reaching out like claws. Around its base were dozens of makeshift graves, marked with wooden stakes and rotting totems. The earth around them was cracked, burned, and sunken in places. And behind the tree was a structure half swallowed by the earth, a crumbled stone archway, pulsing with a faint red glow. "That's it," Liam whispered. "That's the exit. Or the source." As they approached, the ground trembled faintly beneath their feet. A low hum vibrated in their chests. Suddenly, Marcus stopped. "Wait!" Everyone froze. He pointed to one of the graves. That's me." They looked. The marker had his name, etched into splintered wood. The dirt below it had been freshly disturbed, as if something had recently clawed its way out. Emma found her name next, then Ava's, then Liam's. The graves were already here, waiting. "This isn't a place," Ava said slowly. "It's a ritual. The road, the signs, the countdown." Marcus breathed. "We were chosen. To feed it," Emma said. "To complete it." Liam took out the keys. They pulsed faintly in his hand. He walked toward the archway. "We still have a chance. We're still alive. That means it's not finished." Suddenly, from behind the black tree, figures began to emerge. Tall, shadowed shapes with elongated limbs.
No faces.
No sound, just movement smooth and unnatural. They circled the clearing silently, trapping the group in a ring of darkness. Liam stepped forward, holding the keys up like a torch. The shadows recoiled slightly. The ground beneath the archway cracked, and the red glow pulsed brighter. "They can't cross," he said. "They're bound here. The keys are for us." But then one shadow stepped forward and began to change. It shrank, shifted, became Jordan. He stood between them and the archway, his face calm, empty. And then he smiled. "You can't leave," he said. His voice was layered, human and something else. "You're not him," Ava said. Jordan shrugged. "He's still in here somewhere. But it doesn't matter. The Hollow feeds." And you walked straight into its heart. Suddenly, more figures emerged from the shadows, copies of people they knew. Family, friends, people long dead. Each face twisted just enough to be wrong. Marcus stepped toward the archway. "We go together. All four of us. No matter what." They nodded. Liam led the way. As the shadows moved to block them, he threw the keys toward the glowing base of the arch. When they struck the stone, it exploded in light, white and blinding. The shadows screamed, 1,000 voices shrieking in agony. The ground cracked, and the center of the hollow opened. Not a door, not a tunnel, a void. It pulled at everything. Wind, dirt, screams, the shadows. Even Jordan. His form twisted, shrieked, and disintegrated into smoke. Emma grabbed Ava's hand. "Now!" They leapt, one by one, into the light, and into whatever lay beyond. They hit the ground hard. air knocked from their lungs, the sound of wind roaring in their ears. But when they looked up, everything was still. No trees,
No sky.
no sound, just white. Endless, pure white, like they had landed in a space between worlds. No floor, no ceiling, just a glowing horizon that stretched in all directions. Ava blinked rapidly, trying to adjust. Are we dead?
No, Liam whispered.
I don't think so. Not yet. Emma looked around. Where's Marcus? They turned. He wasn't there. Marcus! Ava shouted into the emptiness. No answer. Then, without warning, the white began to shift. Slowly, subtly, like a curtain being pulled back. Images flickered in the air like broken film. Memories, moments, conversations. Their road trip, laughing in the car, singing along to the radio, the storm, the wrong turn, the house, the hollow, and then something else. Other people, other faces, other groups, all of them trapped. Some were screaming, some were hiding, others stared blankly into nothing, resigned to their fate. The road kept repeating, again and again, each new group unknowingly pulled in. The trap reset every time, always disguised as just another forgotten highway. Liam stepped forward, watching the memories shift and swirl like smoke. It's been doing this for years, decades, maybe centuries. It's feeding on people, Emma said. Their fears, their guilt, their confusion. They all watched in silence as the scenes looped. Every escape attempt failed, every voice silenced, until one memory stood out. A woman, the woman from the house, alive, sobbing, writing names on a wall in chalk. A young child hiding behind her, whispering, "Mommy, is it over?" That was the last clear image before the chalk was taken from her hand by something unseen, and darkness swallowed them. Ava's voice was quiet. She lost her child. Liam nodded. And she became part of the trap, maybe even its guardian, trying to warn people, but bound to the cycle. Then, a sound cut through the silence. Footsteps. Behind them, they turned. Marcus stood there, pale, shaking. "I saw it," he said. "I saw the truth. I didn't fall in like you. I was taken somewhere else. It showed me everything." "What is it?" Emma asked. "A wound," he said. "In reality, a crack that formed long ago. Something came through. Something ancient. It needs people to sustain itself. The road is just its lure." Ava looked around. "So what now? We're still inside it, aren't we?" Marcus nodded. "But we're at the center, and that gives us a choice." A shape began forming ahead, an archway of light, similar to the one in the hollow, but gentler, calmer. Then another shape formed beside it, darker, flickering like firelight, twisting shadows around its edge. Two paths, two exits. "One leads back," Marcus said. "We get out, but we forget everything. Our memories are erased just like every other survivor. We wake up on a road somewhere, thinking we got lost, but not remembering what we escaped." "And the other?" Liam asked. "We stay," Marcus said. "And stop it." Ava looked at him. "What do you mean?" "We anchor the trap," he replied. "Take her place. Keep the next group from falling in. Pass on the warning. Keep it from feeding." Silence. Emma stepped forward. "If we leave, this keeps happening. People keep dying. But if we stay," Liam said, "we lose everything. Ourselves." Ava turned to the others. "No one would know what we did." Marcus smiled faintly. "Maybe that's the point." They stood at the threshold of the two exits, hearts pounding. After a long moment, Ava turned toward the lighter path. "I have a sister," she said. "She needs me." Emma stepped beside her. "I want to live, even if I forget." Liam looked between the two, then to Marcus. "I'll stay," he said quietly. Marcus smiled. "I'll stay too." Emma hugged Liam tight. "Thank you." He nodded. "No godbis." No promises. Just four friends, split by a choice no one should ever have to make. Ava and Emma stepped into the light. Gone. The world shifted again. The white faded into shadow. Marcus and Liam stood side by side as the hollow reformed around them. This time they would be the warning. This time they would try to change the outcome. Because the road was still out there, waiting, and eventually someone else would take a wrong turn.